Good morning and welcome to the PowerSuite 8 MCO navigation training. This presentation is being brought to you by BWC's Barb Jacobs, the Director of the MCO Business and Reporting Unit, Tina Elliott, the Director of Return to Work Services, and Sasha Stoudemire, the BWC Process Analyst for this project. My name is Donna Bradshaw. I am a trainer here at BWC, and I am excited to host this WebEx training to introduce you to the enhancements with PowerSuite 8. Everyone should have a manual titled PowerSuite 8 MCO Navigation, and if you would, please turn to page 5. On page 5, you will see the objectives of this training. We are going to define the changes to PowerSuite. We're going to use this new customization to create and update both legal and medical cases, as well as search and create the ADR order. And before we get started, please let me state that the injured workers' names and claim numbers in this material and those that you will see on the screen are completely fictional. Let's turn to page 6. Let's talk about some of the enhancements that you're getting with the PowerSuite 8 upgrade. For one, the screen will be the size of your monitor. It will not have to be resized. It will not shrink. So what a great thing. No more doing the show all or maximizing that screen. Another really nice feature is you will have spell check. When you're writing that ADR order, in those big text box areas where you're free-forming the text, you will have a spell check. Also, the search options have been greatly enhanced. In PowerSuite 8, search will open up in its own tab, and you can leave that tab open and refine that search multiple times during the day. Whereas today in PowerSuite 7, when you do a search, if it doesn't bring back the correct criteria, you have to start all over. This is a really cool enhancement, and you'll see it here shortly. If you're a keyboard person, got some great news for you. There are multiple places in PowerSuite 8 where you can just simply hit Enter on your keyboard versus going up and clicking a command button. Another nice feature, up here in this blue banner, you see the Home tab for the home page. This blue banner will allow you to have open 25 tabs, cases and claims. So here's the thing. When you have 25 tabs open, this gets a little messy. You get a double row, sometimes into a triple row. So just because you can have 25 tabs open doesn't mean you should. Just be a little leery of that. You may reach a point when you have that many tabs open that you can't see this Home tab and you can't get back to your dashboard. Just to let you know, this word here on the far left in the dark blue, PowerSuite, will always be visible, and you can click right on these words to get back here to this home page when you can't see this Home tab. Another feature, you can pop out claims and cases and move them to another monitor to work. The thing is, with a pop-out, when you pop something out of this blue banner, and you put it on another monitor, you have to work it over there, save it over there, and close it out over there. Because once you pop something out of this banner, you can't pop it back in. One of my favorite items is this portlet right here called the Recent Items. And as you can see, I already have some information in here. This portlet will hold 25 of the most recent claims and cases that you've been in. When it hits 26, the oldest one falls off. The favorites portlet down here at the bottom, that is unlimited, and you can put in as many favorites as you want of cases and claims, and they will stay there until you're done with them and you want to delete them. Now, you're not going to have the My Work, the My Team's Work, or the Work Analyzer portlets. Those will not be part of your dashboard, and we will cover the dashboard a little bit later in this training. All right. I'm going to be using two separate environments today. The one you're looking at right now is the training department's environment. I'm using this because the case search is a little bit more robust here than in the environment that has a truer security lockdown for MCOs. So for the first part of this, I'll work here, and in a moment I'll switch over to the other environment. Let's get started on page 7, the search functionality. So I said a minute ago, search will open in its own tab, and it will. It'll open right up here in the blue banner, and it will say search case or search claim. You can still use your wildcards, the asterisk or the percentage, and if you do a search that's going to result in more than 500 results, you'll still get the message letting you know that, so you can refine it. There are a couple of ways to do a case search. You can come over here to this green primary navigation for case management, and you can do search case. But the more efficient way is to use the quick search. Now the quick search is up here in the top left. You would open the drop-down, select case, come over here to the link that says advanced search, click it. This gets you to the advanced case search, and this is the screenshot at the bottom of page 7. This is pretty similar to what you know today as show cases. If you'll turn with me to page 8, I'll walk you through this screen. So the first thing you'll need to do is select the context, and you're searching for cases in a claim, so we'll select claim. Then it's going to ask you for the claim number. So we're going to put in, let's see, put in the claim number and select the first search icon. What the system does, it goes out and retrieves the name of the injured worker. Now, if this was not the correct claim number and that was not the injured worker I was expecting, there's a new feature here. You see this little box right here? It's called a clear box, and when I hover over it, it says clear. So I could click that, clear it out, and start over. Okay. Once I've confirmed that it is Mickey's claim and it's the right one, I can move on. I do want to point out this little blue eye bubble, and when I hover over it, it says open context. It will actually, if I click it, open Mickey's claim. And you'll see these throughout PowerSuite. Let's move on in our case search. For the case category, we're going to search for legal, and we're going to see if there are any ADR cases for Mickey. Now, you have other search filters here that you could use, and if you use them today, you certainly can use them in PowerSuite 8. I'm going to go down here to the bottom right and click on search. The search has returned 2 ADR cases for Mickey. From here, I could simply double-click or highlight and open. Either way will open the case. Now, if I got here and realized I did not mean to search for the ADR, I wanted to search for an exam scheduling, I need to get back to that search criteria. At the top of page 9, you'll see a number 1. It says click on the green arrow. Well, this green arrow up here to the right operates as a back button. When I click on it, it returns me to the search criteria. So I can say, you know, I meant to say medical, and I meant to say exam scheduling. Now let's search. There it is, the 2 exam scheduling cases for Mickey. And when I click on one, I can see some of the details here at the bottom. I can even see participants, or I could double click and open it, or highlight and open. So pages 7, 8, and 9 talk about the case search using the quick drop over to advanced search. Always remember, when you see the green arrow, that gets you back to the search criteria when you're in a tab that says search case. Okay? I'm going to close the search case. And at this point, I am going to go and switch over to a different environment. Come down here and close out what I have. All right. So this environment has a little bit tighter security level and is closer to what you will see as the MCO. As you can see over here to the left, your primary navigation has the customer management to search customer, claims management to search claim. You won't have the calculate benefit. And there would be a search and create case management here, but I still have a bit of a defect in this environment. It's not 100% ready to go yet. So let's turn to page 10. On page 10, we're offering you a really nice enhancement. You know, today you cannot just go into PowerSuite 7, enter the claim number, and say, okay, open the claim. Today you have to open the case and then open the claim from within the case. Now you can still do that in PowerSuite 8, but your enhancement lets you go directly to the claim. So up here in the quick drop, I've selected claim, going to put in the claim number, and this is where I can just hit enter on my keyboard, or I could have clicked the search with my mouse. So Minnie's claim is open now. What you're seeing is here's her claim tab with claim in it. Over here to the far right is the icon bar, which we will talk about shortly. Over here on the left, you are in the secondary navigation, which only contains the area for the status. So you can see the status of the claim itself. The darker green area is all the header information. The header information, used to be here at the top in PowerSuite 7. So over here is your claim number, the claim type, the date of occurrence, state of the claim, what type of employer, and down at the bottom, the owner of the claim here at BWC. So the status area is called your secondary navigation, and your header information is in the dark green area. And this is page 10 and 11. All right, well, I know Minnie has some cases, so I'm going to go ahead and open up one of her cases so we can talk about the differences in the icon bar between the case and the claim. So over here in the icon bar, you see View Cases. I'm going to click that. I'm going to highlight one and open it. And we'll come back to this in a moment. I just want to get the case open. So as you see, the case looks very much like the claim. You have your icon bar here to the right. You have your secondary rooms over here. Now you will not have the summary or the communication log. And then the case header information down here in the dark green. So let's talk on page 12 about changes in the functionality and these new icons. So first of all, the icons that you know today, that new piece of paper that you have to click before you can add something, the pencil that you have to click before you can edit a field, and the trash can that you use to delete and or void, those are gone. Excuse me. They've been replaced with actual command buttons. So what you will see, excuse me again, all right, excuse me for that brief interruption. You're actually going to see some command buttons with the names add in it. To show you this, I'm going to click into the Participation tab in a case. There we go. You see the add button here, the blue command button with the word add. That's one way to add. Another way is this green circle with the plus sign. That usually adds rows to a grid. Now, what I will tell you is your delete, which was your trash can, will appear in the form of this red circle with a minus or a blue command button that actually says delete. Now, you're not going to be prompted if you select this red circle and you want to get rid of this row. It's just going to take the row away. It will not ask you if you want to save. Whereas if you're moving from room to room, it's going to ask if you want to save. But your delete button, it also will not ask you if you want to save before you delete a row. So your add is now the word add in a blue command button or a red or a green circle with a plus sign. Your delete is now a blue command button with the word delete or a red circle with a minus sign. All right. Your pencil. Well, your pencil is nowhere to be found in PowerSuite 8. The only time you're going to see a blue command button like this that says edit right up here on the right is if you are in a screen that is in an overlay view. So the participation screen in a case defaults to an overlay view. What I mean by that is, as you notice, the screen moved when I clicked the edit button. It's because on the first screen you see the existing grids, but if you want to see the details, you either have to double click a row or highlight and click edit to get the information for that row that you highlighted. And I've not come across anybody in the training we've done here at BWC that likes the overlay view. So what you can do, down here at the bottom, you'll use the blue close to slide it back. Go here under this More drop-down. You have horizontal and vertical to choose from. Vertical is the closest to what you see in PowerSuite 7, so I'm going to select vertical. And now, when I highlight a row, the information appears at the bottom. I've just created a preference. I've modified a view. If I do not change this, every case that I open, when I click on participation, will be in the vertical view drop-down. It's a one and done when you modify a view. Okay? All right, let's get back here to your icon bar. Your save, really no different than what you see today. Excuse me. And actually, let's pop out Mickey's claim. Let's see here. get right in there. Give me just a second here. And I want to pop out the claim. See how it popped it out of the banner? It's no longer up there. So I'm going to put the claim icon bar underneath the case icon bar. So this is the case icon. They both have a save. They both have a history icon, which I don't believe you used today. Here's your refresh. It's not blue anymore, it's green. So remember, I don't know if you've heard this or not, but here at BWC we say, if you make a mess, refresh. Which simply means if you're on a screen and you get distracted or you put in wrong information and you're just, having a bad day, don't save it, just refresh it. If you haven't saved it, you can refresh it to how it was when you opened it up, then make your corrections and save. Now, in the case, you have a notes icon, which will not be viewable for you. But in the claim, you have a document icon. So documents, your ADR order is now in an icon. You can either view or add, and we will do an ADR order later. In the claim, in the case, there is work items. Now, the work items, those you'll not have access to, and you will not have access to the external link, and your help icon will be under the more actions. Now, where did my Mickey Mouse claim go? Well, it's probably hovering down at the bottom. I'm going to go right back here to home, and since Minnie's in here, I can pop her claim right back open because it saved it in my recent items. And now I can pop her right back out. I can pull her back over here. And as you'll see in the claim itself, which is the second one, you have view assignments, you have view cases and add cases. This is the document manager, which we'll not have access to. That's our imaging. That's the external link. And that's the more actions where the help is. So while they are similar, there's just a few differences. We are going to come back to, let's take a look at them. I can't pop Minnie back in. See, once she's popped out, I can't try to put her back in the banner. So I'm going to close her out, go home, and open her back up inside PowerSuite. Because I want to show you, under the assignments, this will give you more information about the claim owner. Okay? And that's assignments. You saw me do the view cases a moment ago. That will give you a list of all the cases attached to the claim, and you have the ability to see some details down here or open. All right. So that's pretty much 12, 13, and 14. And actually on page 14, you can cross out the very last paragraph that says when the medical management case is highlighted. Cross that paragraph out and cross out the screen print because you will not have access to that information. All right. That moves us to page 15, where we start talking about managing the case and the changes that have occurred in cases with PowerSuite 8. So a couple of really cool things. First of all, when you create a case, today you have to not only do, the category, the type, you name it, you have to go to participation, click on the claimant's name to populate their participation type before you can save. Well, that's not going to work anymore. You simply can name it and save it. The system will auto-populate the participation type. The other cool thing in a legal case, if you've ever clicked into case type details, that's that screen that has the hearing information, and that claim has not gone to a hearing yet, the system will force you to put in a venue location of unknown. You won't have that problem anymore. It's going to be auto-populated. Events, while you don't use events, you might use the action plan tab today. If you use the action plan tab today, it now lives under a window called Actions. And it has a link for the action plan and a link that says Activities. The status window for the case, it's been reversed. So the current information is on top and the history is on the bottom. Include and relate have been separated. They are now two different windows. One thing you can't do in PowerSuite 8, when you're in a case, you have no way to see a listing of all the cases from the case. You will have to go back to the claim under the view cases that I just showed you. There is a slight change in the exam scheduling. In today's world, the exam date and time are two separate fields. In PowerSuite 8, they are one. All right, this is all on page 15. We do have an enhancement for you, and I'm going to close out of this ADR case so that we're just in Minnie's claim. So in today's world, you have to create the case from the primary navigation. You have to put in the claim number before you can move forward. You are getting the enhancement so that you can create a case from within the claim. And that's how we do it here at BWC. So once you're in the claim, just come right over to the View Cases icon and you select Add Case. It pulls up the claim information and the information for the injured worker. So you don't have to key any of that in. You know that it's attached to the right claim, so there'll be less room for error. Page 16 shows you how to create it from within the claim, and page 17 does say you can still go out and do it yourself the way you do it today back on the home page using the primary navigation, but it's much easier and more efficient to do it from within the claim. So let's talk about page 18. There's not a whole lot of difference when you're creating the claim. You're going to want to select the category, so we're going to do legal first. The type, ADR. Of course, you want to name it appropriately. Oh, there we go. And I know that you use the reason summary. I'm just going to put test in there for today. Now, from here, today you'd have to go to participation, click on the claimant's name. Don't have to do any of that. You go up here and you go ahead and save. Once it's saved, you'll see the status comes up, the related cases comes up, the included context. Now, communication log and summary will not be here. Here's the case header information, the case type, the status, all here on the left-hand side, just like in the claim. Excuse me, and of course your icon bar is over here to the right. All right, let's talk about page 20. So in the legal case, here's your type details. See how I told you the location unknown is auto-populated for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But let's talk about participation. So I was in here already, and I changed the view to vertical in the other ADR case. Remember? And I told you every time I opened up participation in a case, it's going to show in a vertical view, and that's what it did, because back in Minnie's other pre-existing ADR claim case, I changed the view. Now, to add participants in the case, it's really not a lot different. What you probably have noticed is there's an add and a delete here at the top, and an add and a delete here at the bottom, and a little round green plus sign to add. I got a little scroll bar here. One feature I do want to show you that can help you not have to use the scroll bar is this gray slider bar. If you grab it, hold it, and move it up a little bit, then you don't have a scroll bar over here, and you can see a little bit more of the screen. So the add and delete up here and the add and delete down here both add a new row for you to add a new participation type. This little green plus add is connected to the contacts types for this participant. See, so it adds information if you need to add it here. But I'm not going to, so I'm going to delete it. I am going to click add because I am going to select a participant because I want to add the originating MCO. And there's my participation type. I still have to click primary. Now you'll see it's grayed out because I have to click on the search for the window to come up with the list of the participants from the claim. There's the MCO, highlight, select, and they're added, and then you save. Okay? So once you got to the add, you'll notice the list here. I think today these are radio buttons. The radio buttons in 7 and the checkboxes are typically under drop-downs now. Okay. So if I didn't want that, because I don't want to create a ghost line, I want to highlight and delete. When I click on that, the information comes back at the bottom. I can move this down a little bit. So adding a participant, not a whole lot different. Steps are on page 20 and 21. Okay. Let's move on to the Actions tab. This is where I said the action plan now lives. It defaults to the action plan. So if you do use this, just remember action plan is under Actions. Activities is the links for events for BWC, but there won't be any in your claims, your cases. Your profile section, very much the same. You have to click Add. click your ADR category, or excuse me, your dispute or your request to get the information. I'm just going to click some stuff in here so you can see it's really not a whole lot different. Now, if I wanted to, I could type in here, hit the plus. Oh, no, not 2015. Let's say 04012019. Oh, see, pushing the tab doesn't work. So my suggestion would be use the slashes. All right. Now, you're going to see, here's the clear button. If I clear this, it says, are you sure you want to clear all the answers? Oh, maybe not. Maybe I just wanted to change the first one. Okay, so clear would have cleared everything. Once you have it the way you want it, you save it, just like normal, and there it is. All right. Let's talk about the status of the case. The status of the case lives over here on the left in the secondary navigation. And like I said, it's been reversed. The history is on the bottom, and the current open in progress is here. If I want to change the status, I have to click the link. And here is change status reasons. They're all still here, and we'll just say it's negotiated. And then we save. Puts the new reason up here, because we know a legal case is only in progress or closed. That's the slight difference to the status. Now, I'm not going to go any further with this case because I want to create an exam scheduling case next, and then we'll talk about the related cases over here. So as I said, can't do anything from within a case. I can't even view the other cases. So I have to click back into the claim, come over to the cases icon, select Add Case, category type medical, case type exam scheduling, and this is a business process change. And this is on page 23. You'll see where it says Note, business process change to the case name. You need to name it ADR IME because up here in the header, it will not tell you if it is a legal or a medical case. Now this one has a slight glitch, so let me bypass the glitch that we have. So medical, case type, name, save. And there it is. If you left off the ADR or the IME, you could mistake this for a legal ADR case. So you do need to start naming them ADR IME. We are going to go to the type details. And as you saw, this was the same as it is today. No different. But they've broken it down. You have exam request, the exam results, and the ADR. So in the exam results, here's the change. Exam date and time, one field. So if you're scheduling an exam, you click the calendar, and let's say you schedule the exam for April 4th, your first thought is, oh, April 4th, but it doesn't give you a chance to change the time. It populates the current time. So if you don't fix it, your letter's going to go out with an incorrect time. So if you click the X to clear it, go back to the calendar, go straight down to the time, and let's make this a 3 o'clock p.m. on April 4th. Now it populates with the correct time, and you can save it so that your letter goes out correctly. The ADR screen is still the same. Fill it out the way you do today. And that is page 23 and page 24. Participation looks much the same as it does today. See how it's in the vertical view where I changed it, made it my preference to vertical. If you don't like vertical, you can always change it to horizontal. When you're in horizontal, you get a slider bar in the middle that you can pull over to the right to give you more room here if you like. You can still stretch these headers just like you can today. It's totally your preference how you see the work. All right. Talk about your profiles. You click Add to get the category list. There's your ADR. And you fill in. See how I made the typo? Spell check, I right click, put in test. And I save. Okay. So now we have the legal case and we have the ADR IME case. So let's talk about relating cases. Relating cases begins on the bottom of page 24. So if I'm in the ADR IME, I go over here to Related Cases. I click Add. This looks completely different from what you're used to seeing in Include and Relate today. It's asking for a case number. It wants the case number to that legal ADR case. Well, you can't go up here in the header and try to, can't get it out of here. You actually have to go back into that case. You can get it right here in the dark green header. You can highlight, right-click copy, go back over to the IME case, put it in there, paste it, you hit the first icon. Now, I do have a slight error in this environment. What would happen when you hit this first icon, if you look at page 26, the second screenshot with the arrow, you'll see what it does is it gives you an eye bubble, a clear box, the name, it would say ADR filed, it would have the name of the injured worker, it would have the case type, all that information you see in the second screenshot would appear here. And then you would save. So then you'd have to go the other route. So you'd have to take the IME case and relate it to the legal case. So before you leave the IME case, you want to capture the case number, then go to your legal case, click your Related Cases, click Add, and paste it in. Click the first icon, and again, you know, I have a glitch, and the information that would appear here would be about the ADR IME case. Now that's how you would do it if you have both of the cases open at the same time. We have given you, back on page 25, the steps that begin are in the event that you only have the ADR IME case open, how to get to and find the legal case. So you might want to, at the very top of page 25, put in there an additional way to do this is to click into the claim, go to View Cases, find that ADR IME case, highlight and open, because you're going to need it open, so then you can grab the case number. So that's another way to do it. But either way, you've got to have the case number in order to relate the cases one to another. Okay? That covers us through to the bottom of page 26. And before I forget, if I didn't say this, up here in the tabs, so I'm going to click into this case, you see this little orange circle? Some call it a Cheerio. Some of us have been calling it a Fruit Loop because it looks like an orange Fruit Loop to me. That means you have unsaved information. In today's world, I think you get a little file-looking hard, you know, the old hard floppy disk. But in 8, it is an orange circle. Well, I know I have unsaved information because I had a defect. So I am going to delete my row and then save. Okay? Same thing here. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to save. Okay? What I'd like to talk about now is documents, creating that ADR order. We do have some minor changes. So I'm going to click into Minnie's claim. Close out this box. And documents live up here in the icon bar. I'm going to click the arrow. Now let me say this. In today's world, you would click Documents, you'd have to click New, highlight the ADR order, it takes you back to View Documents, you have to highlight it again and click Maintain. All of that's gone. You know you're coming into the claim to do the ADR order, so you can go directly to Add Document. When you do that, the overlay window opens up with the document library available to you. Now before we go much further, I want to talk about these arrows up here to the right. This window opens up with a green banner, and it gives you a little bit additional functionality. So the very first arrow is a pop-out. That means you're just popping out just this document box if you choose to, and move it to another monitor. This one is minimized. When I click that, it docks the window over here to the right. I click right back on it to retrieve it. Then I have a maximize, just makes the box bigger, if that's easier for you to see. Click it again, and it returns. Well, got to click right on it. Maybe. Oh, there we go. And of course the X would be to close it out. There's your refresh, and there's your help. So we're going to highlight the ADR order, and we're going to click Finish. What you see here begins at the top of page 28 and 29. So in today's world, you would see document data, document details, recipients, document tables. In 8, you have the General tab, which tells you if it's a local delivery, which letter it is. The Status tab, that allows you to pen the document. And the Turnaround tab, and you can make any document a turnaround document. But these 3, General, Status, and Turnaround, are all on the document data when you open up the document in PowerSuite 7. Let's talk about recipients. So the recipients, just much like today, are listed, and you can click on them, but I'm not seeing the details. Why? Well, look over here. I've got an Edit button. That tells me I'm not seeing these details because they're on a separate screen. I'm in the Overlay view. So if I wanted to see the details of many, I'd have to double-click or highlight and edit to get to it. Again, not many people like this. I'm going to use the blue close at the bottom to get back, and I'm going to change this to vertical. That way, I can see Minnie's information down here at the bottom or the next one. Okay? So now every time I open up and add a document and go to recipients, it's going to be in a vertical view. It's one and done. And that's my preference. Okay. Table elements is where document tables are, but your order doesn't use them, so we're not going to go in there. But we are going to go to data elements. Now, data elements is on page 30. It's not a whole lot different than what you see today. You have the first column that tells you here's the information with an asterisk that is required. Here's the elements that you need. Here's where you fill in information, and as you scroll down, the system retrieved. Here's a column for details. If I want to know how many characters are in this freeform box, I can click the details, and I will know over here that it's 1,200. And if you're a novelist like me, you might need that 1,200. Click anywhere to make the blue box go away. Then we have this column for alerts. This just simply says, hello user, you have an alert. This is a required field. You've not put anything in here, so you're getting a red alert column to let you know. But the minute I select a date, the alert goes away. Put in the dispute number, the alert goes away. The description, the alert goes away. See, there's your spell check. Next required field, next dispute summary. Oh, no, I didn't do that quite right. And another required field. And I think that's all my required fields. Yeah. So that's what the alert is about. And it's going to stay there until I click out of the box. Over here is your retrieval method. If you want to turn one or the other off, go under the blue More drop-down. This information lives on page 31. If I want to see just the system retrieved information, I can look to see is everything that's required here. It seems so. Then I can go back and say, okay, just show me the user entered. So if you are typically working that way today, you can still do that in 8. It just lives under the blue More drop-down. Now, once I've done everything I need to do with my document, I certainly want to save it, but I also want to preview it. Your preview is living up here under the green More Actions icon. You have your check completeness, your preview document, and your produce. So you could click your preview to see it. Preview works just like it does today, so there's no change there. So once I've previewed it, everything is good to go. I've already saved it, then I can just exit out of the box. So turn with me to page 32, because we're going to go back to the View Documents, or to the Documents, and we're going to click on the View Documents this time. And as you'll see, this box comes up with a green banner, which means you have the same features here that you had in the Add document. Here is a listing of the documents that have gone out. There was an ADR order that already went out. It's in a produced status. Here's the one we just created. Let's take a minute and let's talk about these columns. So these are columns. This is a grid. And I don't know about you, but yeah, we know the category is Ohio, so do I really need this? Do I really care what reference core number it is or what version it is? Probably not. You have the ability to change this with a thing that's called Customize Column. Customize Column lives under the More dropdown. It's the first choice here. I'm going to click it. So as you see, there are things you can add here in addition to taking away. I don't care what the category is. I don't care about the reference number or the version number. But I might care about the date it was created, who created it, does it have a pen date and a pen reason and a status date? And I click OK, and it now adds that information to my grid. It always adds it to the end, and it took away the other columns. Now, if I don't like the way this is arranged, I can move it. Maybe I want the created date to move forward. So I grab it, and when it turns green, I start dragging it because I want it to be right there. Name, create date. If I want to know who created it next to the create date, same thing. Drop it right where you want it to be. It has to be green for you to drop it. Another thing you can do, you can come back under Customize Column, and you can do that from here. You can say, you know what, I want the status up. You highlight status, you use the arrows to move it up. Oh, well, maybe I want it there. Click OK, and it's in the order that you created. Either way works. It's always your preference. So we just created a preference within a grid. Every time I open View Documents in a claim, I will have the same information in the same alignment that I just created. So you can customize the view, and you can customize the grids. And any grid that we've seen, you can do this way. Okay? Here, you still have the ability to preview, and since your document is not complete, if it was incomplete and it needed more information, you could click Open. It would slide over to give you access to the data elements to make the changes, save them, use the close on the bottom right to get back. You could still add a document from here if you wanted to. But let's talk about what else lives in this More dropdown. As you come on down, you do have a filter and a search, so if there's a lot of documents in here, you could use a filter and a search. You have a preview and a produce here. We don't use copy document. There's still a check completeness. You can still delete a document that has not been produced, and a help. This is page 33. So that is View Documents. And to get out of it, you just click the X, and the box goes away. That's pretty much it for the bulk of how the enhancements work. On page 34, I'm going to talk about some additional enhancements. I showed you the pop-out. What I didn't show you was the PDF information. So I'm going to go back here to View Documents. Any grid, like this is a grid, can be exported to Excel or PDF by simply just right-clicking somewhere in the grid. Then you get the options for either one. And it's anywhere there's a grid. So in your claim, really, View Documents is your only option. But in your case, you could, this is a grid, down here, okay, back in your case information, you could do participation, if you had a lot of participants, profiles, I mean this is a grid, in your related cases, this up here would be a grid, anything like that. If you have use for it or want to see it in a PDF or Excel, you can certainly do that. On the bottom of 35 talks about modifying the views. Modifying the views to horizontal, vertical, or overlay always lives in the blue More dropdown, along with Customize Column. All right, Customize Column is page 36. So with that, I'm going to close out. Well, actually, we're going to go home, and we're going to talk about this dashboard. So this dashboard, what you see here, these portlets, recent items, favorites, and my calendar, these are your defaults for your dashboard, and you can customize this any way you want. So the recent items, you see you have a collapse, a maximize, and a close, and they all have that. The first collapse, if you just want to see the banner, you could collapse all your portlets and only see the banner. okay? If you want to get inside the portlet, you have to click the double arrows for maximize. So this is the recent items. Once you're in here, you can still open an item. You just can't delete them one at a time. In recent items, it's either you have them all there or you have none, because your only option is a clear button. So if I were to clear this, all of these would be gone, but the minute I started opening cases and claims again, recent items will start rebuilding. How do I get the portlet back to where it was to see the dashboard again? You have to restore it. You don't want to click the X. If you click the X, it's going to say, do you want to remove it? No, I don't want to remove it. I want to restore it. Okay? So recent items is all or none. Favorites, you get to choose. And how do you get things in your favorites? Well, if you want to drop a claim link in here, it has to be open up here in the banner. You have to be on your home page. You click and hold, drop and drag, or drag and drop. You can say, oh, I want that case in here too, because I'm going to be working on that for a while. These will stay here until you decide when they go. So if we maximize the portlet, each one has an open and a delete option. So if I'm done with this particular case, but I'm not done with many, I can go ahead and delete that off my favorites, restore the portlet, many's the only one left. Okay? Works that way for favorites. And this is unlimited, so you can have as many favorites as you want. Then you have a calendar here, just for a calendar use. If you don't want the calendar on your portlet, say X. Yep, remove it. Now if you decide you want the calendar back, you have to come up here. This is a change layout icon. Hover over Add, come down until you find My Calendar. Bam, it's back. All right. So I've just covered everything up through the end of the material until we get to page 46. Oh, I do want to say one more thing. You've got a gray slider bar here. If you were to click this, you just lose your green primary navigation. You can still do the quick search up here. You just click it to get it back. Okay. So let's go to page 46 and let's talk about preferences and logout. So I changed some grids in the view documents. I added some stuff. I removed some stuff from the column headers. I changed the recipient view to vertical, the participation view to vertical. Now that's going to hold every day when I use the proper logout, which is this exit right here. If I decide that I just want to reset those to defaults, I have the ability to come here to Preferences. Do you want to reset and clear? Yeah, I do. And I click OK. And when I exit out of here, it's going to reset them to the default. So participation will go back to overlay, recipients will go back to overlay, my view documents grid will go back to the default settings once I log back in. And I really caution you to always log out with the exit. It will hold your recent items and your favorites day to day if you're using the exit link to exit out. All right. And I would suggest that you exit out of everything you have open before you leave the system, just as a safety precaution to make sure you've saved everything. And with that, that is the end of the MCO presentation. Thank you all for your time and attention.